So December 3rd, 1999, we went home that night, and about 11:30 at night we got a call from Hal's good friend Jeremy, and he had indicated that Hal had been in a car accident.
So the night of Hal's accident, we were at a conference and we were coming back from it. He gets in the car, I get in my car, and we head out. He got ahead of me and I caught a red light.
Hal was driving about 65 miles per hour.
The drunk driver was going 80 miles an hour.
Someone crossed the median and hit them head on. His Ford Mustang spun around and the oncoming driver T-boned him.
There was like all this debris in the middle of the freeway. And my buddy looks out the window and says, I think there was a Mustang on the side of the road. I was like, dude, I couldn't even tell. And as I kind of started driving, he's like, no, man. I think that was Hal's Mustang.
When I talked to Jeremy, I told him to tell Hal that we loved him, and that he had to hang in there, and that we were all coming.
The fire department showed up. They had to cut through the car to have to pull him out. His heart had stopped for about 6 to 7 minutes.
I remember walking through the door, and it was like they'd been waiting.
I did not expect him to live through the weekend.
He's probably not going to be able to hear because of the damage to his ear. He might not be able to see because he had shattered bones around his eye. He'll never walk again.
There was so much brain trauma, and they told us that, he would be a vegetable.
I think he was in the coma for about a week.
First it was like, say goodbye. Then they were like, oh, looks like you might make it, sort of.
We knew he was still working, he wasn't a vegetable, and he woke up the next day talking.
When Hal woke up, his short-term memory was completely impacted. So it was like Groundhog's Day every day. I remember one time he's like, did I get in a plane crash? And I think we went with that story for a while. I was like, tomorrow we'll retell the real story again. He took his first step, and it was just another one of those things where
He just defied everything the doctors said. We laughed through all of it. It's just, you always kind of found humor, and I think that helped him survive.
When Hal got out of the hospital 4 months later, his high school principal called and he said, I know this is crazy, but he goes, do you think Hal would speak to the student body? And so that was the start, really, of Hal's speaking career.
I just feel like Hal had another purpose. He wasn't done yet. I still believe that now. It was a miracle.
Everybody, my new skin family, get on your feet! Put your hands together! Everybody. If you can help me, I'm trying to find the person that put me on after Phil and Jennifer. That's yes. I don't want to follow that. They were incredible. Thank you. Incredible. If you look at the screen, you'll see you are only 2 decisions away from everything you want, and I mean that very sincerely, and it's encouraging because we're 2 decisions away. And if you study the world's most successful people in all walks of life, these are the 2 decisions that they make every single day, over and over and over and over again. The first decision is unwavering faith. They decide that they will maintain unwavering faith that they are just as worthy, deserving, and capable of everything they want in life as any other person on earth. And the second decision is extraordinary effort. They will do something every day to move closer to their goals and their dreams and the vision of the life that they want. And I want you to think about something for a second. If you wake up every day and you actively maintain unwavering faith in yourself and your ability through your miracle morning, through affirmations, Reminding yourself, I am just as worthy, deserving, and capable of everything I want as any other person. So mentally and emotionally and spiritually, you're ready. And then you put forth extraordinary effort. It doesn't mean that you work all day, that you're working 60 hours or 80 hours or 100-hour weeks. It means that you're simply doing enough. You're doing what you need to do every day. You're doing something to move forward. And if you do those two decisions every day, you make those two decisions, your success is inevitable. It's a matter of time. You eventually get there. Now, and I'll warn you, it probably will not happen as fast as you want. One of my favorite sayings, I don't know who said it first, but it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. You ever heard that before? Right? It took me 6 years. So we'll get into that story, but my goal was just to reach 1 million people with the Miracle Morning, and I tried to do it year one, and I reached 13,000 people. Right? Might sound like a lot, 13,000 people, but it was 987,000 people short of my goal. Okay? That's a failure rate of 98.7%. Like, think about that. Was I discouraged? Yes. I was like, ah. And I did the math. I was like, I literally divided, okay, 13,000 people a year divided by 1 million, and, or the other way around. But I went, okay, it's going to take me 117 years, I think, to reach the goal. You can check my math. That might be off. But it was somewhere around there. I was like, okay, I got the rest of my life to give it everything that I can. And 6 years later, it happened. I want to begin here, and I already said this in the form of an affirmation, but I want to say it to you. The theme of this event is I'm possible. And to me, this slide, that's how I would define that. You are just as worthy, deserving, and capable of achieving everything that you want in life as any other person on earth. The people on stage, the Dan McCormicks, the people that are up here, that you admire, that you aspire to achieve the level of success they've wanted, they didn't show up to New Skin with a downline. Well, some of them did, but most of them, right? Meaning they didn't show up to network marketing with a downline. They showed up nervous and insecure and scared and unsure if they could succeed. But they made two decisions every day. They maintained unwavering faith that, they can succeed. And I'm sure it wasn't unwavering, I'm sure it wavered. Yeah. But what made it unwavering is they kept coming back to the faith that they could succeed. They'd have a bad day, or a bad week, or a bad month, or lose one of their top distributors and go, oh no, I don't know. Maintain unwavering faith that I can do this. And they put forth extraordinary effort and continued to move forward. And they might have taken 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. Another 2 steps forward, maybe 3 steps back, but they kept putting forth that extraordinary effort. Here's the thing. What makes effort extraordinary is consistency. That's it. That's it. Very few people are consistent and do something every day to move forward. They do something when they feel like it, right? Come off an event, I'm all motivated, and then that fades off. If they're not doing their Miracle Morning. If you're doing the Miracle Morning, motivation is sustained. How many did a Miracle Morning this morning? All right, awesome. That is great, my people. And how many of you are doing a Miracle Morning tomorrow that didn't raise your hand? Okay, all right. So here's the 3 things that today's message will enable you to do. We have about an hour together, and my objectives are to help you develop unwavering faith in yourself. And that's not based on your past, it's based on your potential. I'm going to say that again. Developing unwavering faith in yourself is based on, not on your past, but on your limitless potential. Number 2, make extraordinary effort ordinary. We already started that process, right? It's just consistency. It's doing something every day to build your business, to move forward. And number 3, create miracles in any area of your life. And I'm going to share with you 4 stories today, 4 miracles, if you will, that I've experienced in my life. I believe I've co-created them with God, right? It's not passively going, please, I need a miracle. I'm going to sit here and wait. Where's the miracle? Why is my life not the way I want it to be? Right? That's not creation nor co-creation. Co-creation is, please fill me with the strength I need, the motivation, the energy. All right, and then you've got to do the thing. You've got to get it right. You have to do it. That is co-creation. That's how you co-create miracles in your life. And I want to define a miracle for all of us because it's a very vague term. If you ask someone to define a miracle, you probably get a lot of different definitions. Deeply meaningful outcome that is beyond the realm of what you currently believe is probable for you. Now, I didn't say possible, and here's why that is. The word probable is very intentional. In life, we don't get what is possible. We get what we believe is probable. Because think about it. Anything's possible. It's a very popular phrase, right? Anything's possible. But how often do we pursue that which is possible that we don't actually think is probable? Very rarely. How many of us are like, man, I've got this goal. I don't think there's like any chance I can achieve it. So I'm going to give it everything I have. It doesn't work that way. You've got to psychologically, mentally, and emotionally get yourself from, okay, it's possible, but how do you bridge the gap from possible to probable? We're going to talk about that today. It is those two decisions, and they create a feedback loop where when you establish unwavering faith, even if you don't fully believe it, you got to fake it till you make it sometimes. Unwavering faith, you establish it, you cultivate it, you nurture it every day during your miracle moment. And then you put forth extraordinary effort. At the end of the extraordinary effort, at the end of that day that you did the thing that you thought about not doing, that you were tempted to procrastinate on, but you did it anyway. That's what made the effort extraordinary. Now, you're fueling the faith that it's possible to keep going. And that faith fuels the effort, and the effort fuels the faith, and round you go, and you become more convicted. Your faith becomes stronger. The effort becomes easier day after day after day. My first miracle, we'll go through this one relatively quickly because you already saw the video that showed this experience. And by the way, the pictures were in black and white, so I apologize if these are too graphic for anybody, which normally they're not, but sometimes I've had somebody say, I couldn't look at those pictures, so you're welcome to close your eyes. But when I was 20 years old, as you saw in the video, I was a top sales rep for Cutco Cutlery. I don't know if that was mentioned actually, but I had been selling Cutco for 1.5 years, so I was in direct sales. And 1.5 years into my Cutco career, I had broken a lot of records for the company, which, by the way, I want to insert an important part of that story. For anyone that doesn't feel worthy or extraordinary or capable and just says, I'm just me, and if you have a past, like most of us do, where you look at that, I call it the rear view mirror syndrome. You go, well, I'm checking the rear view mirror, I've never really done what I'm trying to do now. Maybe I've never even done anything remarkable. Maybe I've never achieved at a high level. Maybe I've never been disciplined. Maybe I've never maintained faith in myself or felt worthy. Maybe I've never put forth extraordinary effort. So that rear view mirror syndrome that we all suffer from. For me, when I was 19 and I started in sales, I looked at that rear view mirror and I'm like, I was in trouble all the time in school, always in detention. I didn't get good grades. I wasn't popular. I wasn't athletic. I never really did any, I have no evidence. All adopt into our life is if another human being can do something, that is evidence of what's possible for you. So those you see on stage here today, every single one of them, like I said, they started at nothing, with no experience selling new skin, or building a team, or building a business, just like anybody else that started in new skin, right? And if they can do it, that's evidence that so can you. And so that was the belief. I encourage you to borrow the belief that your upline, your mentors have in you until your belief catches up. And I gave a speech at this conference for Cutco. Driving home that night, the car accident happened. And came out of the coma 6 days later to be told I would never walk again, which is hard news to take at any age. But at 20, I had a lot of goals that involved walking again. And I had to think, what is this going to be like? And I live by this thing that Dan talked about called the 5-minute rule, which is when something goes wrong. I learned this in my Cutco sales training, and it's one of the most valuable lessons I've ever learned. When something goes wrong, it's okay to be negative, however you define that. Feel sorry for yourself, bitch, moan, complain, cry, vent, punch a wall, like whatever you got to do. Don't suppress your emotions. Allow yourself to experience them. But the point of the 5-minute rule is to give you a time frame where you realize it's not really healthy or productive to dwell on something that you can't change. Whether it happened 5 minutes ago, 5 months ago, or 5 decades ago. And many of us are suffering over things that happened a long time ago. They're not happening anymore. They're not happening anymore, but we still suffer when we think of them. And here's what I learned as I understood the 5-minute rule more and I unpacked it. It was, and this is very important, so really write this one down, maybe record it as many of you are. Every painful emotion that you or I have ever experienced in our life is self-created and completely optional. It is self-created by our resistance to reality. So I'm going to squish that together and encapsulate it. Every painful emotion that you have ever experienced or I have is self-created by our resistance to our reality. What does that mean? It means that when something happens, whether it happened 5 minutes ago or 5 months ago, to the degree that we wish it didn't happen, we resist it. No, this isn't fair. I don't deserve this. How could that have happened? We replay it in our mind. By the way, replaying is resisting. Replaying it over and over and over, wishing it didn't happen. We do this all the time in traffic, by the way. Raise your hand if you're not a big fan of traffic. Okay, this will change that, seriously. So I used to not enjoy traffic, right? I'd be in the car and let's say I woke up late, I'm running late, and I got a meeting, and and I can't be late to this meeting, or there's going to not be a good it's going to be a consequence, not going to be good, right? And I hit traffic, bumper to bumper traffic. And what do we always say? No, not today. Like it's the day's fault that you didn't plan better and you're running late. No, not today of all day. Come on, oh God, I'm going to be late. And let's say you're in traffic for 30 minutes. How do you spend those 30 minutes? Are you happy? Are you light? Are you grateful? Are you joyful? Right? No, you're tense. And you're frustrated and you're stressed. And you're riding the bumper. You're literally resisting the reality of the pace of the traffic with your car. Does that make them go faster? No. Now, it might make them flip you off. I don't know. But it doesn't actually change anything. Resisting reality doesn't change reality. Say that again. Say that again. Resisting reality doesn't change reality. But it does cause us inner turmoil. It causes us emotional pain. It causes frustration, sadness, fear, stress, anger, resentment, all of these things. And so in your words, can't change it. Can't change it. It's an acknowledgement. I can't change it. There's traffic. So right now I have a choice. I can either enjoy every moment of this one life I've been blessed to live, or I can resist reality, wish it were different, be frustrated, be stressed, be upset over something I can't change. I think it's when you frame it that way, it's obvious, right? There's really only one choice to make. I'm going to accept my life exactly as it is. I'm going to accept what happened 5 minutes ago, 5 days ago, 5 years ago. I'm going to accept everything that's ever happened in my life and never allow it to deter my mental and emotional state. Because, see, we've been conditioned to think when bad things happen, we feel bad. And then when good things happen, we feel good. And the 5-minute rule, the can't change it philosophy, to me offers a new paradigm, which is, hey, I accept life as it is, so no matter what happens, I just feel however I choose to feel. I'm at peace, so I get to choose. I'm in traffic. Oh, this sucks, I'm going to be late. Oh, that's not good. I'm going to be in trouble. So-and-so's going to be mad at me. But I can't change it. And I'm in the car for 30 minutes, and I've been blessed with one life, so I'm going to enjoy every moment. That's the people on this side. So when I came out of the coma, 1 week after I came out of the coma, 2 weeks after, my leg broke in 2 pieces, my pelvis broke in 3 places, my arm broke in half, my elbow was shattered, I severed my radial nerve, I broke my eye socket in pieces where this is all titanium right now, and my ear was almost completely severed, and the top of the ceiling buckled and sliced the top of my head open. 2 weeks after that, the doctors called my parents in. So I'd been out of the coma for a week. They told me I would probably never walk again. And the doctors called my parents in and they sat them down. They said, we're concerned with Hal. We believe he's in denial or he's delusional because he's always smiling. They said every time we interact with him, they're telling my mom and dad this, they said he's always smiling and joking and laughing and telling us jokes to make us laugh. And they said, it's not normal for a 20-year-old young man to be like, yeah, no, I'm never going to walk again. I'm in an accident. I have scars beyond belief. Cool, no problem. They said, but it's not completely uncommon. They said because sometimes an accident victim, their reality is so painful that they don't want to experience the pain, they can't accept it, so they check out and they just act like everything's okay until one day they have to face the reality of what happened to them and the painful emotions that they've suppressed, and that can become very dangerous when they turn to drugs or alcohol or something to numb the pain that they never faced. They said, so we need to talk to Hal, find out how he's really feeling so that he can begin healing emotionally. They said he should be sad, scared, angry, depressed. Those are normal responses. So I'm in my hospital bed, and this is 2 weeks after all that trauma occurred, and I'm watching Oprah Winfrey because I need some inspiration in my life at the time. I'm literally watching the Oprah show. And again, my legs in a sling, my arms in a sling, my ears bandaged on, one eye's bandaged, right? I'm not in great shape. And my dad comes in and he says, Hal, can I talk to you for a minute? I said, I'm watching Oprah. But, oh, okay, yeah. Because I looked at his face and he was like really emotional, I said, what's wrong? And he explained the doctor's concerns. They said, physically, Hal, you're going to be with us for a long time. You know, they don't know if you will walk again, but you're going to live. They said, but mentally and emotionally, they are concerned that you are not processing what happened to you, that you're in denial. And he explained what they said. He said, Hal, I know when your friends are here, you're smiling and laughing and reminiscing and joking, but how are you really feeling? Like when the lights go out at night and you're processing what happened, how are you feeling? When you're thinking about the doctor saying you're never going to walk again, how are you feeling? And I really went inside and I went, am I sad? Am I scared? Am I angry? Am I depressed? And I looked at my dad and I said, Dad, I thought you knew me better than that. He said, what do you mean? I said, remember I lived my life by the 5-minute rule? For the last year and a half? It's been 2 weeks since the car accident. I can't change that I was in a car accident. I can't change that I broke bones. If the doctors are right, and I'm in a wheelchair the rest of my life, which I am not accepting that they're right until enough time has gone by where I'm proven that, no, dude, it's been 3 years, you're not going to walk. Okay. All right, I'll accept it. But I've accepted it before it even happened. I said, so if I'm in a wheelchair the rest of my life, I told my dad, I said, I've decided I'll be the happiest, most grateful person you've ever seen in a wheelchair. Because I'm in a wheelchair either way. So what's the point in being sad, angry, scared, and depressed in a wheelchair when I can be grateful, happy, excited, and hopeful and optimistic in a wheelchair? And I want to ask all of you, I want to put this back on you, what's your wheelchair? What are the experiences in your life, past, present, or future, that you've allowed unconsciously, unintentionally, but they cause you emotional pain? Right? Could be a relationship in your life. You can't change that person. You can't change what they do or don't do or what they say. But you can either choose to allow what they do, don't do, or what they say to emotionally destroy you, or anywhere in between, cause you emotional turmoil, or you can go, I accept life as it is. That includes the people in my life. That includes the circumstances in my life. And yes, the discernment, right? God grant me the serenity to accept what I can't change, the courage to change what I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Yes, it's not, I can't change anything, so life's, I'll just sit here and do nothing. No, use your discernment. I couldn't change if I was in a car accident, but I could change my mindset. I could maintain unwavering faith that I would walk again, which I did. Maintain unwavering faith every day. I don't know how, but God, I trust you. Whatever's meant to be, but I'm putting the intention out there that I'm going to take my first step, that I'm going to walk again. Right? I can put forth the extraordinary effort to go to therapy and do the little electro, all the stuff they were doing, right, to just try to get my body to heal and go. I could do all of that. That was all in my control, and I could show up and I could stay longer and work hard. I could do everything. I couldn't change what I couldn't change. There's no point in feeling sorry for myself or being angry or upset or anything that didn't serve me. Right? The question is, what emotional state serves you at any given moment? And so I told my dad, the doctors are wrong. I'm not in denial. I'm at peace. Very different. I'm at peace with what I can't change, and all my energy is going into what I can change, which starts internally, how I think about this, what I learn from this. And I really told my dad, I said, Dad, you know how ever since I started selling Cutco and giving these speeches at all the Cutco events, I've been saying like, I want to be like a professional speaker someday? And he said, yeah. I said, well, I never really had anything to talk about. Like, you were a good mom and dad, and like I had a pretty, like I was bullied, but who wasn't bullied? Like I had a normal life. Maybe that's why this happened, Dad. Maybe I'm supposed to get through this in the most positive, proactive way I can, and then share it with other people. And I literally, I said that to my dad in that conversation. And what do you know? Look where we are. A week after that conversation, 3 weeks later is 3 weeks after the date of the crash. So a week after I told my dad, go tell the doctors, no offense, but they're wrong. I'm at peace. The doctors came in with routine x-rays and they said, we don't know how to explain this, Hal, but your body is healing so quickly that I know we said you might never walk again. You can take your first step today if you're up for it. And even for me, I was like thinking like 1 year from now, I might walk again. Not 2 weeks after I woke up from the coma, right? Like even my mind was blown. And that's my therapist, Bob, and he rolled me up in the wheelchair, you know, and I literally, it was scary. I was like, oh, I've got like a broken leg still. It's only 3 weeks, you know, old, right? I'm nervous, but it was just kind of like but I'm walking, right? And I sat back down, and that began, you know, the journey back to full health, if you will. And here's the lesson. An opportunity to learn, grow, and become better than we've ever been before. And I heard someone say this recently, I forgot who it was. They said, I said that to them, and they said, yes, I've always said that the greater the adversity, the greater your destiny. And I love it. The greater, so the harder life is for you at any given time, go, wow, I got big things in store for me. This sucks right now. I'm going to pretend it doesn't suck. I was captured. I couldn't think straight. And in a movie, you see me bawling my eyes out. And, but you see me say, and I mean it when I say it, this doesn't change that I am grateful for this experience. Because the old, you know, cliche adage, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. I believe that, right? And I said, this doesn't change that I'm grateful for this experience because it's helping me become a better version of myself. Again, every adversity we face, even the most painful, unbearable ones, are opportunities for us to learn, grow, and become better than we have ever been before. And think about how the adversities in your life right now, the challenges in your relationships, in your finances, your health, whatever, with your children, whatever it is, it's an opportunity for you to learn and grow and become better. And then, here's the beauty, this is what helps me with that. Putting my focus off myself and on other people. I have a responsibility to overcome this, not only for myself, but for those I love and those I lead. Because I can't help anybody else overcome what I'm going through if I don't overcome it. Like that is literally my fuel when I feel like I'm not strong enough. You know, it's like, wait, I have a responsibility to do this for humanity. Or my loved ones, my kids, whoever it is. My second miracle was much less dramatic from the outside, but internally it was actually much more difficult for me than that was. And it was the 2008 financial crash. Anybody else around during that time? Not just me? Yeah. I'm what you would call a delusional optimist, or I used to be. Right? I have a fine line between delusion and optimism, and you know, usually optimists cross that line quite often. But, you know, the economy is starting to crash, and like, I don't watch the news at that time, and people are asking my friends, they're going, hey, are you paying attention to the economy? You watching what's going on? I'm like, kidding not. I create my own economy. It's very empowering. That's right. I create my own economy. Until I realized that, oh, maybe I don't. Because over half of my coaching clients in a matter of months canceled their coaching with me because they couldn't afford to pay for it. Because their businesses were affected by the economy. And I was living, you know, right, over half of my income is pretty significant, since like most of us, I was living at like 90% of my income, some months 110% of my income, right? Putting it on a credit card. But I was, as much as I made, I was spending. So losing over half my income, I couldn't pay my mortgage. My house was foreclosed on, my first house I ever bought. So I go from like, I'm living the dream. I met the woman I'm gonna marry, we're living together, we're engaged, I have my first home, to I can't pay my mortgage and the house is going back to the bank. And I don't know when they're gonna kick me out of here, but at some point. I canceled my gym membership, my body fat percentage tripled because I couldn't afford to pay for things. I was eating really cheap, inexpensive, unhealthy food. I went from being a Dave Ramsey student, debt-free, credit cards paid out every month, to $52,000 and climbing on my personal credit card in 6 months, just to pay for groceries and gas and all of that stuff. And I had never experienced such a downward spiral. Like the car accident, the reason I think it was easy mentally and emotionally is, it's like, okay, what happened? Was it a car accident? Great. With time, everything moved forward, like the worst of it is behind me. Whereas in this case, it was like, I'm losing client after client, I'm having financial repercussion, and I wasn't equipped to handle it. I didn't know how to handle it. And a friend of mine gave me the advice to listen to this one Jim Rohn audio. Yeah. Dan worked with Jim Rohn. And here's the quote that changed my life. This one quote changed my entire life. He said, your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal and integrating into your life. That's your personal development. It's who are you becoming based on what you're learning, what you're doing, who you're associating yourself with. So according to Jim Rohn, your level of success, and by the way, success can be fulfillment, and it's in every area of your life. It's not just your business success, your new skin, your financial success. It's level 10 health, level 10 relationships, level 10 happiness. If we're measuring success in any area of our life on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, what level do we all want? 10. I've never met anyone that's like, I don't want to be too happy. I don't know, like those annoyingly happy people. Like, I'll do like a 7. Right? I don't want too much money. I don't want like my cousins calling me for loans. Like 8.5 is fine on the finance. No, like we don't think that way. I believe that human beings have an innate drive and desire to fulfill our potential, to create the best life we can possibly imagine. We want level 10 success in every area. And so as I assessed that for myself personally, hearing this quote from Jim Rohn, I went, okay, well, if my level of success will rarely exceed my level of personal development, where's my level of personal development? And at that time, I'm depressed, I'm in scarcity mode, I'm sleeping until the last minute, I'm not reading because I don't have time, I just gotta make money, which I'm not making. My level of personal development was like a 2, maybe like a 3 or 4 on a good day. And I believe this is the disconnect for our society. Everybody wants level 10 success. Very few people have a daily personal development ritual that is sustainable, that is consistent, that is proven to work, to become that level 10 person that we all need to be to create the level 10 success that we want. And it's not an all or nothing game. If you're at a 2 and your success is at a 2, right, get a little better, you get to a 3, and then do a 4, and then do a 5, right? It's not an overnight thing. It's a daily, consistent process. But as you get better, your life gets better. And I'm the proof in that. Within 2 months of doing the Miracle Morning, I went from being in debt, depressed, scared, hopeless, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, at the lowest point in my life. I more than doubled my income in less than 2 months after I started doing the Miracle Morning, because I focused all of my daily learning, my reading, everything was on how do I get more clients. I bought a book called Book Yourself Solid by Michael Port, which was for service-based businesses, how do you get more clients. And then I read that book every day. I learned the things I needed to do. And then when in my silence for Miracle Morning, I would meditate on generating the confidence that I needed to implement what I was learning. Then I would read these affirmations where I articulated exactly what I was committed to in terms of how many clients I was going to get and how much effort I put forth. Why it was a must for me to fuel the desire and the drive and the motivation. And then which specific actions I would take and when. My affirmations were the clear blueprint. This is what I'm committed to, this is why, and this is what I will do every day to ensure that I make that happen. Right? It was my miracle morning. In less than 2 months, I more than doubled my income. And I've been waiting to share this version of the story in this context for 12 years, 13, 14, 15, I don't know, what year is it? 15 years, something like that. Meaning, I go, wow, when the next recession hits, I'm going to be able to tell people, you don't have to be afraid of it. It's not you can create your own economy. And you do that by generating it within yourself. By getting clarity on, this is what I'm committed to in my life. Here's why it's a must for me. And I'm going to put forth extraordinary effort every day to ensure that I create it. And it was revolutionary for me to realize, even though the economy is getting worse, and I was paralleling the economy because my success was paralleling my personal development, as soon as I dedicated time to daily personal development, even though the economy continued to get worse, my success reflected that. And I went to my wife, my fiance at the time, and I said, sweetheart, I just signed on 2 coaching clients today. I'm on fire. We have officially doubled our income in less than 2 months, and it's all because of that morning routine. Feels like a miracle. She goes, it's your miracle morning. I was like, I like that. And I will tell you, in no way in that moment did I imagine that it would be a book that was read by thousands of new skin distributors and that I'd be on stage in Utah. If it's possible for me, it's possible for you. Meaning, whatever you see in your future, or maybe you don't see it, but you need to let yourself see it, right? If another human being can do it, so can you. We were all born with limitless potential. And the only thing that stands in our way is ourselves. We might think it's somebody else. Well, no, but you don't know what happened to me. I was in a car accident. Okay. No, but I lost everything in 2008. Okay. Well, no, but then I got cancer. Okay. Right? Those are all great excuses. Or they're great reasons, right? Fuel for you to, and because of all that, that's why I'm here. Because you can overcome every challenge you've ever faced. You could be at peace with the trauma from your past. Stop letting it define who you are now. And base who you are, not based on your past, but on your potential. And the lesson in that story that I just shared is that the real secret to success is dedicating time to your daily personal development. And of course, the Miracle Morning is the ritual to do that. Now, the Miracle Morning, for those of you that, anybody not aware of what the Miracle Morning is, or like familiar with it? Yeah. Okay, we're going to go through this real fast. So here we go. I will say one thing about this slide, and that is the savers. Silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. I'm actually going to paraphrase what Robert Kiyosaki said. Any Robert Kiyosaki fans? Yeah. Robert Kiyosaki is probably one of, next to Dan McCormick, the biggest Miracle Morning fan. Last time I checked, he had read the book 3 times, which, by the way, you only read it once. I encourage you to read it a second time because you get different information when you're not learning something for the first time, but you're assessing what you already know. Very different. It's how you achieve mastery. Learning something the first time, that's kindergarten, right? Reading it again and going, okay, am I living that? I forgot that part. I'm going to integrate that in. I stopped doing that, right? That's how you move toward mastery. But Robert said, Hal, before the Miracle Morning, every successful person on the planet did one of the savers at least. But he goes, I had never heard of anyone that did all 6. And he said, any one of the savers will transform your life. I mean, any successful person on the planet would tell you, it was the books I read that made me a millionaire or whatever, right? It was the affirmations that I did that reminded me of who I was and what I was capable of. But he said, when you do all 6 savers, he goes, Hal, I truly believe that you named the book correctly because it creates miracles in your life. And he said, it has for me. And I was like, if it works for Robert Kiyosaki, it works for anybody. Now, my third miracle, this is one, I don't know if I've ever shared this story. Like, today, guys, I really customized this message. I really wanted to make it really special and new. And so here's my third miracle. It was my goal to change 1 million lives one morning at a time. And I wrote the Miracle Morning, I put it out, I started getting emails and reviews like, this is changing my life, oh my gosh, and like really profound. It saved my marriage. It got me off my depression meds. I lost 20 pounds, right? I'm like, this is crazy. But again, my belief, if one person could do it, this is evidence that 8 billion people could get the same experience. So I have a responsibility to share it with everyone. So I'm like, all right, I got to go bigger than my little self-published self was thinking. I'm going to go try to sell 1 million copies of the book in 2013, the first full year that it's out. 1 million people, 1 million lives, one morning at a time. Y'all, I did everything in my power. I was on 152 podcasts that year. I did 52 of my own podcast episodes. I was on social media every day. I gave 36 speeches across the country. I paid a PR for money I didn't have and went on 12 national and local morning TV talk shows. I did everything in my power to change 1 million lives that year. And at the end of the year, I sold 13,000 copies. I mentioned that at the beginning of the message, right? 987,000 copies short of my goal. And I think this next graph, this next slide, I hope this will be very empowering for y'all. This is what success looks like, at least for me. You'll see that for a year and a half, sales were pretty flat. And I've spoken with a lot of authors that go, man, I only promoted my book for 6 months or 3 months. And then it wasn't doing that well, so I moved on to my next book. Or I focused on a course, or I changed my focus. And I'm like, wait, so do you not actually believe that everyone needs your book? Everyone needs your product, right? And so for me, at the end of that year, I dusted myself off and I went, oh, that's discouraging. It's going to take me 117 years to reach the goal or whatever. But I thought, I have a responsibility to dedicate my life to getting this message out. And I just went to an author mastermind yesterday, and I shared this part of the message. I go, y'all, like they're all talking about, I'm on my 12th book, and I'm doing this and that. I said, you guys, all I do every week is talk about the Miracle Morning. I'm doing podcast series every week, just talking about the Miracle Morning. It's been 11 years. I said, 3 million people have read the Miracle Morning. That means there's 8 billion people that I have the rest of my life to try to reach. And I want you to think about that in your life. 2 things. One is that if you believe in new skin, make some noise. Then you have a responsibility to maintain unwavering faith with extraordinary effort to make your goals happen, to make the impact that you are destined to make happen. And the greater the adversity, the greater the destiny. And the other thing is I want you to realize that, I mentioned it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. Well, it took you 6 years to reach 1 million people, right? So it takes longer. It may take longer than you think. And the universe or God, whatever you believe in, you get tested. It's like, are you really committed? Smack. Wow, that didn't feel good. Okay, well, I know, but are you committed? Well, I guess I'll keep trying. Smack. Like, I don't. Right? How many smacks can you handle? Right? I forgot what Dan probably could name the person, but there's a very famous quote, which is like, success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. That's it. That's it. Now, for all of you Miracle Morning practitioners, something you may or may not be aware of, pull your phones out, you're going to want to screenshot, or you're going to want to grab this QR code.